Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar. My name is Lee Gazet. I work for SAP Education in the UK. I'm happy to have Caroline Kinsman with us today to talk about SAP Live Access. If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type those in the chat and Caroline will pick up the questions as we go along or at the end. We'll also cover a bit of the promotion element of it with the user group right at the end, and we have Robin from the user group with us on the line. Caroline, over to you.
Thank you very much, Lee. Hello, everybody. Good morning. So welcome to this presentation on SAP Live Access. SAP Live Access being the access to training systems to complement your access to SAP Learning Hub. So first of all, just a quick reminder on Learning Hub and what that is. Hopefully you're all very well versed in this already. So SAP Learning Hub, a cloud platform of SAP education content with information about all the different SAP solutions in it. Now, within the Learning Hub itself, we have learning rooms and we have learning content. So the learning content are a variety of e-learnings, digital e-books, programs, recorded webinars, etc. And the learning rooms are the collaboration spaces where you can collaborate with instructors and with your peers who are interested in the same areas. Now, of course you can report on the information, the courses that you have taken. Now, when we think about a standard classroom training, there are really three elements to it. We have the content. Well, we have that already in SAP Learning Hub, and we have the people, and we have that collaboration via the SAP Learning Rooms. But the third element in a traditional course are the training systems, and this is where SAP Live Access comes in. So inside the Learning Hub itself, there are no live systems. There are recordings, there are recorded webinars, and videos of systems, and there are simulations, but there are no real live systems that you can get your hands on and do the exercises in. So this is where live access comes into play. If you want to then take the manuals, the books that you have, and follow the exercises and practice, that's where you need an actual system. And so that is effectively what SAP Live Access is for. And just like the Learning Hub itself, you can access it really when you want. I'll talk about the details of it in a moment, but essentially you're not limited, for example, to a working day or anything like that. You can access the systems in the evening, at the weekends, etc. Okay, so what is Live Access? So first of all, it's available to all subscribers of SAP Learning Hub. Anybody can purchase, who has a Learning Hub subscription, can purchase additional subscription to Live Access for access to the systems. What it allows us to do is access approximately 400 training systems. So for the training courses that we have in Learning Hub, many of those courses, approximately 400 of them, we can furnish a system, provide a system so that you can do the exercises. So the idea behind that is that these systems are ready, course by course, for you to actually just pick up the exercises and perform the exercises in the training system. So they have the relevant data, the relevant configuration. However, you're not limited to just the exercises. What you can actually do as well is free exploration. Once you're into that system, you can look at any part of that system that you want to. Oh, Lee, I think we appear to have a problem with the slides.
Okay.
So I think whilst you get the slides back, perhaps I can jump across into the system. Oh, there we go. The slides are back. So let me just go backwards one page. So sorry, everybody. I'll be with you in just a second. Yes, so as I was saying, Live Access itself is also subscription-based. Subscription-based access to the training systems themselves. So the idea, or the way that we access the systems is via something called a contingent. And a contingent gives you access to 20 hours of system time, potentially accessible over the course of the duration of your Learning Hub subscription, but once you invoke the contingent and open the training system, you then have 30 days to consume it. Now, the idea behind this is the contingent itself, that runs alongside your Learning Hub subscription. So when you buy a contingent, it's valid for the subscription duration. As soon as you activate that contingent, the clock starts ticking, and it starts ticking in two different ways. The first is the actual time used, and you have up to 20 hours of time. And every time you go into the system, the clock will move onwards, and every time you come out of the system and suspend it, the clock stops until you get to the 20 hours and the whole thing is used up. But the second clock that is ticking is the period of access clock. So from the first time that you access the system, that then runs for 30 days. So whenever you get to either the end of the 30 days or you've used up your full 20 hours, the earlier of the two is when the contingent expires itself. Now, the idea behind that, the reasoning behind sort of focusing it on a single 30-day period within there is really in terms of best practices for learning. So when you're practicing with a system, the best way to do it is to do it in concentrated bursts. I would say, based on my experience, and I taught for many years at SAP before I moved to the role I'm currently doing, and practicing with the system, preparing for courses and then delivering courses, it's much better from the practice perspective if you can pull your practice together in larger chunks. I would say a minimum of 2 hours at a time when you're going in. And if you're focusing on a particular course, typically, let's say you were looking at a course that in the classroom would be 5 days. Of that 5 days, you would probably have 2 full days worth of exercises. And that's assuming that you're just going straight through the exercises, not stopping in that. So in reality, you've probably got your 20 hours worth there for a single 5-day course to go through, because you'll want to review certain things, maybe do a bit of exploration by yourself and so on. So if you're studying a particular course and you really want to embed the knowledge, the best practice approach would be to do that over a concentrated period of time, no more than a month, split it up over the course of a month. So the 30 days access should work perfectly well, and the quantity of access that you get for, as I say, the equivalent of a 5-day course, the 20 hours, that should work very well as well. Now, thinking about what it is and how we access it. So there is something called the Live Access portal, first of all. This is where we control all of the systems. I've just put the banner across the top here. You can see there are different options: home, contingents, history, and so on. So this is your single point of entry to Live Access, and from here you can access any of the training systems. The idea being that you get a consistent experience across all of the systems, and you can actually jump to this from the Learning Hub itself. So I'm just going to share my screen for a moment and go into the Learning Hub. So here we are on the Learning Hub home screen. And amongst the home screen options you have is this.
Caroline?
Yes?
Unfortunately, yes. We cannot see your screen. Are you sharing it?
I am. Just bear with me a second. just... Okay, can you...
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Fantastic. Yep. Sorry about that, everyone. So basically, this is the home screen of the SAP Learning Hub. And as you can see, in the Access tile that we have here, as well as access to the learning content and the learning rooms, we also have access to the Live Access portal itself. So if you just click on this link, it will then open up the initial Live Access screen for you. And you can see I've jumped directly into it already here. And here we have those menus up at the top that we can share from, that we can choose from, the contingents and so on and so forth. So just going to jump back to the slides for a moment, and we'll go through this piece by piece. When you first come into the Live Access, and in fact I already had it open as well. I don't know if you could see at the top of my screen I had two tabs, both with Live Access in. But typically the first time you jump in, you will get a little pop-up with a quick start in here. Now what the quick start guide does is it will take you through the whole approach of how you access the system. So it's a reminder, if you like, as to what you need to do to go through the system itself. We can pull this up again at the end, and when I'm talking about the help, I'll talk about this and show you how to pull it back up. But that should pop up the first time you go into the screen. So talking through the individual component parts, first of all, there is an option called Contingents at the top. And what the contingents do in here, you will have your voucher number, if you like, the contingent ID, and the validity period for that contingent. So that will be visible to you, it will be listed to you. And as well as the duration of the contingent, so the validity period of the contingent, it will also tell you information in terms of how much time you have in it. So as I was saying before, the contingents give access to 20 hours of system and can be consumed over the course of a 30-day period once they've been activated. But they can be activated at any point during your Learning Hub subscription time. So you could have your contingent right from the beginning of the subscription year and not activate it for 3 months or 6 months, and that would be perfectly fine. The 30 days wouldn't start ticking until that point. So if I just jump back across, oops, and back in here. So if I go to the contingents, first of all, so this is the contingent screen, as you saw on the slide. So here's my contingent ID. I've actually already picked a course. I'll show you how to pick the course in a moment. So I've picked a course that I want to follow. And because mine's a test system, I don't have a full 12 months validity period. You'll have 12 months here. Mine's just showing 3 months. And then you have the total consumption time. So again, because mine's test, I've only got 5 hours. You will see 20 hours there. And then it will also tell you the remaining consumption time that you have. So I've got 4 hours and 53 minutes left of mine at the moment. So that's what your contingent will show you. For the purposes of your Live Access, you can ignore the category. It will say Category 3. All that means is that you have access to all of the training systems that are available. And incidentally, once your contingent has run out, once you've used your 20 hours or the 30 days have run out, then that contingent will appear in the expired or consumed contingents list. So here's an old one that I had from a couple of years ago, from 2015, that was in there as well. So that's the contingent view. Let's go back to the slides. We then have the course catalogue itself to choose from. Now, there are 2 different ways that you can choose the course that you want to follow. You can either choose it from the Live Access portal, which is where we are and what I'm going to show you now, or actually you can choose it from the Learning Hub as well, and I'll show you that in a moment. So let's just pop back in and have a look at the catalogue. So if I go back to the home screen here, you will see, I'll just get it to show me everything. So here you will see all of the available systems available to you. So just over 400 at the moment, 425. This is our full catalogue. They're presented in alphabetical order, so you can see the course code. So basically when you're in the Learning Hub and you've picked up your course, check out the course code, and importantly, check out the collection number. So this is something that you will actually see on the courses themselves. So if I just pop back to the Learning Hub and go into My Learning Contents, you can see here are my courses, my pieces of content that I've chosen over here on the right-hand side. So we're talking here about the e-books or the handbooks. So if I take this one as an example, Integrated Business Processes in SAP S/4HANA, you can see that this one is an e-book. There's its technical code, TS410. Then it tells me which language I'm in, and then it tells me the collection number 6 in this particular instance. Now, when we are back in the Live Access screen here, again, you've got the course code followed by that collection number. So just make sure you've got the two married up together if you're selecting from the portal, from the catalogue here. Now, what will then happen is at this point you can select your course over on the right-hand side. Now, I don't have the select option at the moment, and that's because I've already got a course selected in there. But when you don't have a course selected, you'll be able to select a course in this option, and you just pick up the course that you actually want. And you can actually do that from the Learning Hub as well, which I'll show you in a second. Now, once you've selected your course, what then happens is it moves into the Active Systems section. So here's my course that I selected previously, this technical name. There's the contingent that it's mapped against. And then here we have the system lifetime, the remaining system lifetime. So this is from my 30 days, what I've got left. And that's the consumption time that's left. So that's the amount of hours I've got left in the actual system itself. Now you can see at the moment mine is in resuming state. What actually happens is the first time you select a course system itself, it will go into activating state, and it can take up to 90 minutes initially to activate in the first instance. So make sure the first time you go in that you've left yourself sufficient time to set this up, because it won't be available immediately. Once it's activated, then you'll be able to, or once you've selected the system, you'll be able to open it up for usage. And at the end of however long you spend, it will also, at that point, you then need to suspend it from usage. So I activated this, I assigned this 2 days ago, or a day and a half ago. I activated the system and went into the system, and then I came back out of the system and suspended it. So this, just before we started, I came back into this system and I clicked the resume. So what you'll have is a series of actions that appear here under the actions column, and every time you want to go into the system you hit the resume. So you can see mine's currently in status resuming, and in a moment that will turn to available once it's ready for me to use. And at that point, once that's available to me, I'll be able to click in and open the system. So we'll do that a little bit later. What you can also do is, for your 20 hours, you don't have to stay with a single course. So as well as suspending the system for usage and then coming back to it later and activating it again, what you can do is you can basically hand that system back and choose a different system. So from the course catalogue, You can choose any of these systems. You can only have one at once, but once you've selected your system, you can use it for however many hours you feel the need. And then once you've completed that course, or you've completed it, as much of that course as you want to do, you basically hand that system back, and then you can select a different one. So you have the option to choose from any of the 425. Systems that you've handed back or that have been deleted will appear here in the deleted systems list. So you'll see it listed here. So you can see my system was initiated. This is an old one that I have from a couple of years back, and I consumed the contingent. I used my full number of hours and so forth on it. So that's basically how it works. Let's just pop back to the slides. So the active systems we've spoken about. So in the active systems tab, you'll be able to activate them when you need. You can see the status on this one is deploying. So that's when you initially choose your system. It goes into deploy mode. So you can start the systems whenever you need to. You pause the systems when you need to as well, and then you hit the resume button to continue when you want to go back. So those options will appear in the final column, the actions column. And then once you finish with it, you can delete it as well, or extend it if you want to carry on with it. Okay, then the history. So at any point in time, there's also a history button up at the top, and at any point in time, you can go to your history and see what you've accessed and so on. So this is anything that you've consumed, the available time that's left, the courses that you've accessed, the history of your actions, and so on and so forth. So again, if I just pop over here, and we'll go to history. So here's the history of my courses. This is my old course, the AC100, the one from a while back. And you can see I deployed the system, I suspended it, I deleted the request. And then here I've deployed the new system, the new course, the S4H00. So I requested it, it completed. You've got the timings here of how long it took. It automatically suspends. The first time you deploy, once it's finished the deployment, it goes into suspense mode so that your clock isn't ticking until you actually want to go and use it. So it went into suspend mode, and then I resumed the system. So this was yesterday. And you can see it took about 20 minutes there. So when you want to go in, it's not going to be immediately that second available. So you do need to give yourself 15-20 minutes for the system to come up and be available for you. And then you can see later on I suspended it again. And then earlier on I requested the system to be resumed. So it looks as though it should be available to me any time now, and we'll be able to go in. So that's what your history does. It tells you the complete history of what you've been doing. Okay, back to the slides. There is a help section as well, which I'll show you now. With the quick start, the one that I mentioned at the beginning, the one that pops up automatically the first time you go in, a general user guide, and a facts and support option. So back over to the system. Here's the help over on the right hand side here with the quick start guide. Let's just jump into that for a moment. So this is the quick start. So what you need to do, so you'll have your contingent already. You need to enable your cookies and pop-ups in the web browser. We'll have a look at the training handbooks in just a second, but basically there's information within the Learning Hub that you need. And then you deploy your course, you choose the course in the catalogue and deploy it. It can take up to 90 minutes. There is then a course setup guide for each individual course. that we can access, because you'll need that for your actual log-on. So once you get to the system, you need to log on to it in the first place. So that information is also available to you from the Learning Hub itself. And then once you're ready to go with the system, you need to resume it, so start the system. Give yourself, as I say, 15 minutes for that to work. And then away we go. And we can access the system at that point, click on it, and we'll go into it. And you can then follow your exercises, log on using your setup guide, and do anything that the setup guide tells you that you need to do. Carry out your exercises, and when you want to take a break, you suspend the system, you pause it. So that's your guide from the help, the quick start guide. There's a general user guide here as well. So this takes you through, again, getting started, managing it, what you need to do before you start, and some help and support. So a guide there for you to read. And then finally, there's a whole series of facts here, questions and answers, and support information as well. So that's also available to you too. Right, let's just go back and see whether this is ready now. Yes, and you can see now that my system status is running. So I can access my system, or I can suspend it. I'm not going to do that just yet, because then it won't come back for a while for me. But that's what you do at the end when you don't want to use it anymore, you suspend. And if you want to swap it for another system, you hit the delete button. So all we need to do is access. And here it is, connecting to the system. So you'll see at the bottom of the system here, we have the SAP logon. Okay, and here it is opening up. And these are the actual systems that I need to work with. However, I now need my instructions. So at this point, I'm going to go back to my Learning Hub, and let's just very quickly have a look at my exercises. So for this course, the S4H00, when you search in the Learning Hub, yes, you can find the ebooks, and yes, you can find the e-learnings. But also, for those where you've got a system, you can find the live access option. So if I just go into the live access option, there are two things here. So there is a direct link from the live access course to the live access system. So you can click on that, and that will take us back where we just were in the actual system. But there's also a start course option. So I'm just going to take the start course option, and there are two things in here. So the first are the exercises themselves. So this is an extract from the course, from the ebook, with just the exercises. And you can see it's in a PDF format, and you can print it. So rather than having to toggle back and forth to follow the exercises, you can just print out your list of exercises here and then have them at the side and follow them. So that's the first thing that you have in there, the exercises. And then the second thing, I'll just continue the course, is the setup guide. So again, individual for each of the courses. This is the setup guide for the S4H00 Collection 6. Tells you which systems you need, and if you recall, those are the two systems that I have there. And it will also give me the information that I need for the logon. So it gives me my user IDs and my password, how to use the logon screen, etc. Any additional preparation that I need to do to make that system ready for the exercises. You get all of that included in your live access.
Caroline, unfortunately we
Yeah.
have to wrap up soon. So any kind of final comments?
That's actually it. That
Right.
was the final piece. So yes, so there's the live access in the Learning Hub. So it's very straightforward to actually access it. So here are some useful links in the presentation for you. And over to you, I think, Lee.
Yeah, so before we go into Robin, we have 2 questions in the chat, if you can have a look at that. One question is around the 90 minutes that does it come out of the total 20 hours? So
no,
each time
it doesn't.
you choose.
Yeah, so the 90 minutes that's set up is before, because you've not activated your system at that point. That's just the setup time, the length of time it takes to become available to you. So no, that is not eating into your 20 hours.
And then another question about, can we get an updated latest Learning Hub catalog link? The answer is yes, and I will follow up after this. Robin, can you kindly just share with us in 1 minute the promotion?
Yes, of course. So thank you very much, Lee and Caroline. Just with regards to the user group offer, obviously in conjunction with SAP Education, the user group can save its members thousands of pounds on their SAP training. So we're actually able to offer our members the ability to purchase SAP Learning Hub Professional Edition licenses, and they can save up to 64% on that. But as a bonus, you can now also add live access to your new or existing licenses, and you'll be able to free to experiment on your own with these systems. This offer is exclusive to the user group members, so if anyone is interested, the offer for the current campaign finishes on the 29th of March, so please feel free to give me a call or email me if you're interested in taking up this offer. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. We will follow up with the presentation and the links to everyone. If there are no more questions, I think we'll conclude. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.